Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and we are from Urban Digs, and it is Monday. So you're going to get your Brooklyn weekly market update. John, let's get right to it. I'm looking at Brooklyn supply, 3,337. Show me that chart.
Yeah, that is another increase in Brooklyn supply. It's nice to see supply finally coming back to the Brooklyn market, especially to the tune of nearly 2% last week. So it looks like the supply trend is back on track for the upswing as the fall listing season gets underway here, Noah.
Yeah, and buyers will be very happy about that. I mean, this is the time of year when the stuff's supposed to come on, and we could use a lot more supply in Brooklyn from a buy side perspective. Let's switch over to Brooklyn demand, pending sales, 2,353 things. Johnny, show me what that's doing.
That's a tiny tick down now as we see that things are coming on the market. They have yet to start coming off the market. So we're going to have to wait a little while for this trend to start reversing itself. But essentially, it's going flat, down less than 1% on the week.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? And it's not tanking. It's not doing anything like that. I mean, it's just kind of doing a seasonal thing right over here, and we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, Brooklyn to me is relatively strong. That's how I would put Brooklyn. I'm not saying it's immune to this downshift that we've been having. It's just relatively strong. And you look at this market pulse for Brooklyn, and if I just go to this chart for 1 second, it kind of exemplifies what I'm talking about. It's still like a slanted sell side market. The bias is towards the sell side. You could see that it came down, but that discount window is quickly already starting to turn around from buyers right over here. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens. Let's go to the weeklies. Right over here in Brooklyn, 225 things just came on. That's down 17%. Johnny, show me that chart.
Yeah, and this is kind of one of the reasons why that market pulse is hanging in there, and it seems still to be a seller's market in Brooklyn. Is you look at the supply trends, they're weak when you compare them to the weekly supply compared to last year, 2020. It's well below trend, and it looks like we've seen that pop after Labor Day, and we might start seeing the fade here. So we may
Yeah.
be seeing peak supply in Brooklyn. I mean, there's definitely things are going to keep coming on, but it seems like that massive listing wave of the post Labor Day, I should say, may
Yeah.
have already happened.
Yeah, usually that first wave is the biggest. Those first few waves are the biggest, and then the subsequent listing waves are smaller. So maybe it's starting a little sooner than later. We'll keep an eye on it, Johnny, see if there's any macro change to that. It seems like that's what seasonal is supposed to do. Let's shift over to contract signed, 137 things. That's actually showing a nice pop up. Johnny, show me that chart.
That's a pop up, and it's kind of right back to 2021 levels, but this is the 1 week out of the last, I don't know how many, 20 or so, that it's kind of been at that level. So we'll see if Brooklyn can keep on doing this. I mean, we're starting to get right into that fall active season. And if you look, the 2020 line, the 2021 line, that's a steep trend they got to keep up with. So I'm not sure if
Yeah.
2022 can do that. But we'll certainly keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Johnny. 2021, this seems like one of those markets where you had a year and a half of activity condensed into one, and it'll be very difficult to ever breach those high watermarks for the foreseeable future. But we'll see what happens. You never know what's going to go on. I just want to point out right here that when I look at, there's 225 things coming on in this weekly pace. But you know what? When I add up contract signed, I add up off market together, it almost wiped out that entire supply that's coming on. So there's no net change. So supply might be going up a little bit just because of the numbers coming on, but it's not going to have a lot of pressure to the upside as long as these contracts signed and off markets take
Exactly.
up most of what's coming on. So let's shift over here, Johnny, to the chart du jour. Let's continue what we did from Manhattan, where we took all the contracts signed that were closed up until about July. That's about as far as we can go. And we broke those up. No, excuse me. We broke those up by days on market just to see what the negotiability is. If you priced it right and you sold in 30 days, what was your negotiability? And if you didn't price right, what was your negotiability? And this is an interesting trend. And I just want to point out one thing, John, before I pass the torch to you, is if you look at the less than 30 days to contract here, and you look at the last 4 or 5 months previously, this was negative. This was
Yeah.
negative. So, I mean, if you were priced right in Brooklyn and you sold in 30 days, you were probably selling at or above the asking price. And the latest figure on that is 0% full ask. So you could see it's going the other way, but it was negative. So we're just at full ask for that under 30-day sector.
Right. And what a great reason to list in Brooklyn right now. As we're seeing, right, supply is well below trend. contract signs are kind of on trend. We're not quite sure which way they're going to break, but looking at these July figures right now, if you're pricing it right, you're pricing at the market. I mean, you're selling at your asking price, and that's pretty phenomenal to see that kind of even that curve. So even as the market
Yeah.
slowed down in Brooklyn, you went from selling over the ask to pretty much selling at ask if you're priced right. Interestingly enough, right, if you're on the market for longer than 120 days, right, so you're essentially priced wrong, right, you're still, your discounts, honestly, Noah, for being that off are not that bad, right? 6%,
Yeah.
going from 7.5% to 6%. Now, this is an early look, and I think a lot of these farther bars, the 60 to 120, 120 plus days, these might take a little bit longer to fill in that data point for July, but the sense is that those discounts are rising, but they're still not that bad, in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things.
Yeah, exactly. If you misprice, your penalty is not as severe as it is in Manhattan to actually go find where the market is. It seems
Exactly.
like the market in Brooklyn is a bit tighter in that respect. Still, it's always great to see the market in this way, Johnny. So thank you for pulling up all those numbers. That is John Walkup. I am Noah Rosenblatt. We are both from Urban Digs. Don't forget, you guys got questions. We got answers. We got our forum right down over here. If you want any of the charts that John whipped up today, it's going to be right over here in just a few moments. If you've never tried Urban Digs before, give it a register. It's free for 2 weeks. Other than that, this has been your Brooklyn Weekly Market Update, and we'll catch you next time.